Technonauts is a podcast that deep dives into digital transformation, startups, and technology. Hosted by AI hosts Ted and Samantha, Technonauts helps startup founders and mid-sized business owners navigate the world of technopreneurship. This episode of Technonauts is brought to you by Steer, a construction management software that helps you be in control of your project's progress and costs and protect your project's profitability. For more information about Steer, visit www.steerplatform.com. That's STEER platform.com. Episode 9: The State of Construction and Why It Matters.
Hey everyone, welcome back. Today we're going to be digging into something pretty fascinating, I think. At least to me, I think it's fascinating. We're going to be looking at the construction industry.
Oh, wow.
And specifically taking a deep dive into some of the major challenges that it's facing right now.
Yeah.
And we'll also be discussing why project profitability is so crucial in this whole equation. So our blueprint for this deep dive is a recent article called The State of the Construction Business and Why You Should Care About Project Profitability.
Okay.
And this was published just last month on September 30, 2024 by Steer, which is a construction management software company.
Gotcha.
So it's packed with, really fresh insights. Now, you might be thinking to yourself, okay, construction, how does that really, impact me? What's the big deal?
Right.
Well, stick with us, because whether you're into the economy, investing, or just want to understand how those buildings and bridges around you actually get built, this deep dive has something for everyone. Plus, get this, a whopping 98% of large construction projects experience significant cost overruns. That's almost every single one.
It's a truly staggering figure, and it really speaks to just how complex this industry is.
Okay, so let's break it down. The article highlights 5 major challenges that the construction industry is facing right now. First up is rising costs. And we're not just talking about, regular old inflation. Think lumber prices skyrocketing by 29%. That's enough to, add thousands of dollars to a home renovation project. And steel is not far behind with a 14% jump.
And those are just 2 examples, of course. The ripple effects of things like higher energy prices and global supply chain disruptions, tariffs even, it all hits this sector really hard.
It's like a perfect storm of price hikes. And that leads us to the second challenge, which is, it's almost like a hurricane in itself. The labor shortage. I mean, you've probably seen workers needed signs all over construction sites.
Right.
And the article really lays it out there. 80% of contractors are struggling to find skilled workers.
Yeah, and that shortage has massive implications, not just for how quickly these projects get done, but also for labor costs overall. I mean, companies are competing for a shrinking pool of skilled workers, and that's just driving costs even higher. It's supply and demand playing out, just on a huge scale.
Yeah, so it's a catch-22, right? You need more workers to keep those projects on time and on budget, but finding those skilled workers is only getting harder and more expensive. And all this feeds into the third challenge, cash flow problems.
Absolutely. The construction industry relies so heavily on timely payments. I mean, any delay can really create this ripple effect,
Yeah.
Subcontractors and suppliers that can't cover their expenses, which leads to even more delays, and sometimes projects they come to a standstill.
Yeah, it's a financial nightmare for everyone involved. And if that wasn't enough, the article then hits us with challenge number 4, cost overruns and delays. Get ready for this one. 98% of large projects go over budget,
Wow.
often by more than 30%. It's almost guaranteed to happen at this point.
It really highlights the sheer number of factors that can affect a project, right?
Mm-hmm.
Inaccurate initial estimates, poor planning, unexpected design changes, even something like extreme weather. All of that can throw a project way off course.
It's like trying to build a house of cards in a wind tunnel. And finally, we come to challenge number 5, slow adoption of technology. This is where things get really interesting to me.
Yeah.
Because we see other industries just rapidly integrating things like BIM, building information modeling, and automation. But construction has been slower to embrace these advancements.
Yeah, that's right. And it raises some big questions, like what's holding the industry back? And what potential is there for technology to actually address some of these challenges that we've been talking about? Well, that's where construction management software, like the one Steer provides, comes into play. The article highlights how these platforms are stepping up to offer some solutions.
Okay, so let's get into the nuts and bolts of how this software is actually working to tackle these challenges. What's the first thing that jumps out at you?
Resource monitoring. I think that's key. Think of it as like a digital watchdog keeping an eye on all your materials and labor and equipment.
Right.
Software like Steers, it allows you to track everything in real time, make sure resources are being used efficiently, minimizing waste, and ultimately saving money, which, with those material costs going through the roof, that's a big deal.
So it's like having a virtual inventory manager, making sure nothing gets lost in the construction chaos. I love it. What else does this software wizardry have up its sleeve?
Communication. It's huge. Construction projects, they involve so many moving parts. These platforms, they provide this central hub where everyone, architects, engineers, contractors, subcontractors, they can all communicate and collaborate really seamlessly.
Right.
Imagine being able to eliminate all those phone tag games and lost emails and just those misunderstandings that lead to delays.
Oh my gosh, that right there has got to save so much time and money.
Absolutely.
And speaking of keeping things on track, what about when those, inevitable hiccups pop up? Does the software help with that too? I'm thinking about those real-time data insights that you mentioned earlier.
You're right on the money.
Yeah.
Imagine having a crystal ball that could predict potential problems before they even happen.
Whoa.
Steer offers real-time data and customizable reports that track, key performance indicators. This gives project managers the power to see potential problems early on and take action before they turn into major headaches.
So it's like having a team of virtual detectives on the case, sniffing out those potential cost overruns and delays before they even happen. I'm sensing a theme here. Proactive problem solving. And that brings us to the next feature, progress management tools, right?
Yeah, exactly. Steer's progress management features allow project managers to monitor every step of the project really closely. They can actually see potential delays in the making, and it empowers them to adjust, to pivot, and keep that project on schedule and within budget.
Okay, so it's all starting to click now, right? This software really does tie everything together, but what about all that paperwork, right?
Oh, yeah.
All those contracts and permits and change orders. I mean, that can get lost in the shuffle so easily.
Don't worry, Steer's got you covered there too. The platform includes documentation tracking features. Daily logs, for example. It keeps a detailed record of everything. Construction activities, incidents, worker headcount, you name it. It's like having a meticulous digital filing cabinet, right? Keeping everything organized and promoting accountability and transparency.
Well, a well-documented project is a happy project. And all of these features ultimately lead to what the construction industry really strives for: project profitability.
You got it. It all comes down to that bottom line. But let's take a step back for a minute and think about the bigger picture. Why should people outside the construction industry care about project profitability? What's the so what here?
That's a great question. I'm curious to hear your take on that.
Well, project profitability is the lifeblood of any business, really, and construction is no exception. It ensures that companies can sustain their operations, reinvest in things like new equipment, new technologies, attract and retain top talent, and, just weather those economic storms that we all know happen. Without it, the industry just couldn't function.
That makes total sense. You can't build a solid future on, shaky financial ground. Yeah. What else comes to mind?
Well, investors. The folks with the deep pockets. They want to see a proven track record of projects that are completed on time, within budget, and generating a healthy profit. It's a strong indicator that the company knows what it's doing, right? Yeah. That it can be trusted with those investments. So a company with a history of profitable projects, it's going to have a much easier time, securing funding, forming those partnerships, all of that.
So profitability is key to attracting investment. It's like a trust signal for those who hold the purse strings. I imagine this also gives companies a leg up when they're bidding for new contracts, too.
Oh, absolutely. Yeah. You hit the nail on the head. Strong financial management, it translates into a competitive advantage. It allows companies to bid more aggressively and win more projects. It's all about building that reputation for efficiency and reliability.
It's a virtuous cycle, then. Profitability breeds success, which leads to more profitability.
Exactly.
It's this positive feedback loop.
And finally, project profitability is absolutely crucial for long-term viability. As the construction landscape is evolving, with new technologies and regulations and market demands, companies with healthy financials are much better equipped to adapt and thrive. They have the resources to invest in those new technologies, to navigate those changing regulations, and to really stay ahead of the curve.
So it's not just about surviving today's challenges, but actually building a resilient business that can handle whatever comes next.
Yeah.
That makes perfect sense. While we're talking about the future of construction, one thing that keeps popping into my head is sustainability. It seems like the industry is at like a turning point with growing pressure to adopt more eco-friendly practices. What are your thoughts on that?
That's a great observation. Sustainability is definitely not a niche concept anymore. It's becoming a core principle for a lot of construction firms,
Right.
and for good reason.
It just makes sense on so many levels, right?
Right.
Reducing waste, minimizing environmental impact, creating energy efficient buildings. It's not just good for the planet, it's good for business too.
I mean, absolutely. Sustainable practices can significantly reduce those operational costs, enhance a company's reputation, and attract, environmentally conscious clients and investors.
Yeah.
It's a win-win for everyone.
Plus, with governments and regulatory bodies, increasingly pushing for greener building codes and standards, it seems like sustainability is becoming less of a choice and more of a necessity. It's the direction the whole industry is moving in.
Absolutely. It's a win-win situation, really. And it's exciting to see how construction companies are rising to the challenge. They're experimenting with innovative materials like recycled plastics and sustainably harvested wood. They're implementing, energy-efficient designs that reduce reliance on those fossil fuels. They're even embracing like circular economy principles, which is, the idea of minimizing waste by reusing and recycling materials as much as possible. Think of it as turning demolished concrete into aggregate for new projects.
That's incredible. It sounds like the industry is really starting to embrace sustainability as a core value. And while we're on the topic of innovation, I'm really curious to hear your thoughts on how technology will continue to shape the construction landscape. We touched on BIM and automation earlier, but what other advancements are on the horizon? What's getting you excited?
Well, the pace of technological innovation is incredible, right? And the construction industry is poised to benefit from some truly game-changing developments. One area that I'm particularly excited about is the use of robotics and drones.
Okay, now we're talking. I can just imagine robots laying bricks, drones surveying construction sites. It sounds straight out of a sci-fi movie.
Yeah, it might sound futuristic, but it's actually becoming more and more common. I mean, robotics, they can perform those repetitive tasks with incredible precision and speed. And that improves efficiency, reduces those labor costs. And drones are proving so invaluable for things like site inspections and surveying, even delivering materials to hard-to-reach locations. It's really revolutionizing the way that we approach construction.
That's mind-blowing. It seems like the possibilities are endless. What about like the data side of things?
Right.
The construction industry is generating tons of data these days. How are companies using all that data to make better decisions?
Well, data analytics is playing a really crucial role in construction management. With the rise of sensors and IoT devices and cloud computing, companies can now collect and analyze huge amounts of data from their projects. Everything from material usage and equipment performance to worker productivity and safety incidents.
So it's like having a microscope on every single aspect of the project.
Exactly.
I imagine that level of detail allows companies to identify inefficiencies, optimize workflows, and ultimately make those better data-driven decisions.
Precisely. And as artificial intelligence and machine learning, continue to evolve, we can expect even more sophisticated data analysis tools that can predict potential problems, automate tasks, and optimize resource allocation in ways we can only imagine right now.
It sounds like the future of construction is going to be this fascinating blend of brawn and brains. Robots working side by side with human experts, all powered by like a symphony of data. It's such an exciting time to be witnessing this evolution.
Absolutely. And while these advancements will undoubtedly bring about significant changes, it's really important to remember that, technology is a tool. Its effectiveness depends on how it's implemented, how it's integrated into those existing workflows. It's not just about having the shiniest new gadget. It's about using technology strategically to solve those real-world problems.
That's such a crucial point. It's about using technology to address the industry's challenges and create a more sustainable and efficient future. We've talked a lot about the big picture, like, global trends and technological advancements, the future of the industry. But I think it's important to zoom in and think about the human element, too. At the end of the day, construction is about people, the skilled workers who bring these projects to life.
Yeah, I couldn't agree more, and I'm glad you brought that up. I mean, the labor shortage we talked about earlier is such a pressing concern, and it really highlights that need to attract and retain a skilled workforce. I mean, without them, all the technology in the world won't build anything.
You're absolutely right. What steps can the industry take to address this challenge? What can be done to attract and keep those skilled workers?
Well, one thing is we need to, improve the image of construction work. We need to highlight the rewarding and challenging nature of those jobs, the potential for career advancement, and the crucial role that construction plays in building a better world.
It's about changing those perceptions, right? Showcasing the diverse opportunities that are out there in the industry, from those skilled trades like carpentry and welding to project management and engineering. There really is a place for everyone in construction.
Exactly. And we need to reach out to a wider pool of potential workers, including women, minorities, and young people who maybe, haven't even considered a career in construction.
So it's about creating a more inclusive and diverse workforce that really reflects the communities we serve. What about retaining the experienced workers we already have? How do we keep them engaged and invested in their careers?
That's equally important. Companies need to invest in their employees by providing competitive wages and benefits, ongoing training and development opportunities, and a safe and supportive work environment.
So it's about creating a culture that really values and respects its workers, recognizes their contributions, and provides them with the tools and resources they need to succeed.
Exactly. And it's not just about those financial incentives. Workers also want to feel a sense of purpose and pride in their work. They want to know that their efforts are making a real difference.
Absolutely. It's about connecting their work to a larger mission. Building those schools, hospitals, infrastructure that really benefits their communities. When you see the impact of your work, it gives you that sense of fulfillment that goes way beyond just a paycheck.
Yeah, exactly. And that sense of purpose can be so powerful, right? It fosters loyalty. It encourages workers to stay in the industry. They feel like they're part of something bigger than themselves.
Seems like the industry is at a crossroads, right? Facing these tough challenges, but also with a lot of exciting opportunities on the horizon. What are your final thoughts as we, wrap up this part of our deep dive?
Well, I think it's clear that we need to focus on both the technological advancements and the human element, right? Attracting new talent, retaining those experienced workers, and creating a culture that values and invests in its people.
It's about finding that balance, that sweet spot between innovation and that human capital, ensuring that the construction industry remains a vibrant and rewarding career path for, generations to come. And I think that's a great note to end on.
I agree.
Welcome back, everyone. We're in the home stretch of our construction deep dive. I don't know about you, but I'm feeling pretty energized by everything we've talked about so far.
Yeah, it's been quite a journey from, grappling with those rising costs and labor shortages to exploring all those really cool technological advancements and the importance of sustainability. I mean, we've covered a lot.
And through it all, that theme of project profitability just keeps coming up. It's like the foundation of a healthy construction industry.
Right.
Without it, companies can't weather those economic storms, can't invest in those innovations, attract that top talent, or ultimately build a better future, really, for all of us.
You said it perfectly. And as we wrap up here, I think it's important to remember that, the impact of construction, it reaches way beyond just the industry itself.
Exactly. Think about it. The roads we travel on, the schools our children attend, the hospitals that care for us, even the homes we live in. Construction is the invisible hand that shapes our world.
And like we've been saying, the industry is facing this really interesting mix of challenges and opportunities, right? And those have ripple effects that go throughout our whole society.
Yeah, rising construction costs, for example. That can have such a direct impact on housing affordability. And think about infrastructure projects. They can totally revitalize communities.
Right.
But, if they're not done thoughtfully, they can also make inequalities even worse. And even those technological advancements, they're so cool, but they could create new jobs, but also displace existing ones.
It really is this complex web of interconnectedness.
Yeah.
So understanding how the construction industry works, it gives us such valuable insights into the bigger picture, the economic and social and environmental landscape.
So as you go about your day, just look around with new eyes and appreciate the role construction plays in your life, in all our lives, really.
Notice the buildings, the bridges, the roads, even the sidewalks.
Yeah.
Think about the people who built them, the materials they used, the technologies that made it possible. And yes, even those financial decisions that had to be made along the way.
It's a fascinating world full of challenges and innovations and possibilities. Maybe this deep dive has sparked an interest in exploring a career in construction.
Yeah, or maybe it's given you a new appreciation for how complex this industry really is and how important it is.
Whatever the case, we hope this deep dive has left you with a sense of wonder and a desire to learn even more.
Remember, the world is constantly being built and rebuilt around us. And understanding those forces at play can empower us to make better decisions and create a more sustainable and equitable future.
Keep those hard hats on, everyone, and those minds open. We'll catch you on our next deep dive.
Technonauts is available on Spotify and YouTube. For more information, visit www.technonauts.show.